Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and today we have an open box video from PCGS, and just want to take the time to look at these beautiful new gray boxes with the black lettering. Oh man, look at that. Their coin's got like a hole in it. Is that damage? Wonder if they all have that. I guess I'll have to look into it more. All right, but onto the coins. First and foremost, we have this really lovely Carson City silver dollar that a customer sent in, or I sent in for a customer to be more precise, precision of language. And one of the things that you'll notice about this coin, of course, that you can see why our customer really likes this coin, because it's got this nice gentle blue to gold toning here in the corner. And of course, you know how many corners a coin has. You'll also notice that you do have a lot of little marks on the face. They're not super distracting. Under the toning, they're actually really hard to see, but it is the job of the grading companies to look at the grade regardless of whether or not there's toning. And I think just as long as we're looking at this, getting used to seeing toning and seeing through the toning a little bit so you're not too much in love with a pretty face, is this mark right there on the cheek. As you turn it, you'll see it kind of pops up. That's going to affect the grade on this coin, I think, more than anything else, because the reverse is lovely, pretty much zero tone to it, great looking luster, and nice bold CC with smaller contact marks mixed throughout, but mostly a very satiny finish. Just a very pretty coin overall. So PCGS called this 84cc an MS62. I still think it's maybe a grade too harsh for them, because I think that there's no reason not to call it a 3. It's not. I don't think that it has that detrimental of a mark to it, but they chose 62 on that coin, and that coin's probably a $350 coin in today's market. Next up, I have another coin for a customer, this 1811 half dollar, which is something that my customers had for 40 or 50 years. Really has that nice original gray patina to it. Something that it's good to see. You'll have lots of coins from this era that are kind of bright, that I will still defend them as being not clean. They're just kind of brighter. They don't have this nice original steely gray toning. These half dollars are extremely difficult to grade because they are inconsistent in strike. They are inconsistent of strike just on this every single coin. Like every coin comes out completely different. So if you look at it, you'll start to see, well, look, there's quite a bit of detail actually in these curls up here, which at the center point of the coin should be kind of the high point. So there's actually a lot of detail left. Her jawline actually has a lot of detail left. Lots of curls down here in the hair. Really strong date, that 1811. And then you get to the reverse of the coin, and we'll talk about the flatness of the strike, where you have parts of the lettering just kind of starting to melt into the rim. The eagle's head is just gone. And then, but then down here you have a little bit more detail south of that into the legs. So it's pretty tricky, because then again it gets kind of weak over here. So it keeps going back and forth from weak to strong. And this coin, they graded a very fine scratch. And I think it has a very fine scratch, because usually when I look at a coin that quickly for a while, some of you will comment on it. And I am willing to fake wager with you that none of you saw a scratch on here. This is, I think, maybe the scratch. Is that like there's a line? There's some marring right here. There's the line that goes behind the cap, right? It just kind of blends in with the coin. This to me is just PCGS being way too picky. I feel really bad for my customer, because just because that coin's lovely, and I don't think that it's worthy of getting called scratched. All right, next up, oh, this is a denomination we don't see very often, the $3 gold coin. So for those of you who put together a typeset of US gold coins, that $3 is always kind of tricky. This 1874 is among the more common years, so you're very likely to see this in a collection if you see someone who's got a $3 gold piece. That 1874 is oftentimes the coin that you'll see. Now, it still has a pretty low mintage of only 41,000, but a lot of the coins have mintages of half of that or less. Overall, the coin has a nice even look to it. You can see a lot of flatness in the design up here, as a lot of the flowers and other plant particulates are flattened. But then the finer points, such as what is that? The top of the corn stalk? What is that? Pollen? Boy, that's good. I don't know what that is exactly, but it's very crisp and clear at the top there. Next up, on the front of the coin, you have also very nice even wear to it. A lot of flatness on the hairline. And I'd ask you guys to kind of look at some more of these coins online that you've seen graded and compare them, because once again, you have very sharp denticles, which are the things that run around the face and reverse of the coin, which is not the reading. The reading is on the edge. Just because they have bumps on them doesn't mean they're the same thing. A real strong Liberty, fairly bold. PCGS called this a VF30, which is it's all right. I also thought this was possibly at least one tick higher than that, but that's okay. As the old grading standard goes, hey, when you look at your own coins, just knock them a grade and then you'll be right on. But overall, one of the things to look for is there's almost no mint luster left in this coin, which means, a very fine is most likely going to be a starting, not a starting point, but more of a cap, on that. This is a coin that's probably in the, $800 plus range currently in this market. That $50, it's hard to say a real value with the scratch, but, without the scratch, it's about a $175 coin. Next up, we've got this 1911S. $5 gold piece. This is always on the list of the things that are very, very difficult to grade, because the high points, of course, are the fields and the low points are actually the design. So with that incuse design, it's very, very different than what you see with most of the coins that we have to grade. So the S on this is fairly bold. We've had coins on here that, especially on this $5 Indian series, where the mint mark is almost completely gone. So as you're looking at this coin, what you're going to see is a lot of luster in the incuse area. So on the Indians, forehead, nose, neckline, bust line, inside a lot of the headdress. But you'll see that the outer area, the field, is a little darkened. It doesn't have that luster. So it's going to get you down out of the mint state and into the AU grades. That luster, again, is nearly completely gone from the fields. Next, we want to start to look for any flatness in the design, trying to take into account strike. But as you look, you'll see that a lot of luster flows throughout the leg and the middle section of the wings. But then you get to the top of the wings, the shoulder, the head of the bird, and you see that darkness area. That's actually a little bit of wear into the design. Same thing on the obverse of the coin. When you look, you'll start to see, especially that cheekbone and the front of the headdress, kind of where the ear should be, is getting a little bit darker and worn down. This is a coin that PCGS graded AU50. I think it's a nice grade for the coin. It's a pretty attractive coin. And it's something that's in this marketplace is probably about $650 plus. It is one of the areas where I find the gray sheet seems a little bit light, because they do tend to trade a little bit higher than gray sheet prices, because they're just kind of difficult to come by. The survival rate on those coins, I think, is fairly low. Last but not least, we have another fun gold coin, half the size of the last one because this is the 2.5 instead of the 5. And so one of the things that we're going to look at here on this 1928 coin, the different sizes makes it a little bit harder to, well, it's not exactly apples to apples, but it's really close because you can still go over a lot of the same concepts and ideas when you look at this 2.5 versus the 5, because the design is pretty much identical, just shrunk down. Now the fields here, we're talking about how dark those fields looked. You know, and on this coin, trying to figure out the grade of the coin, I want to show you the difference in the fields on this versus the other coin. So all that bright minty luster that you're seeing flow as I tilt the coin in the light, that's all nice original mint luster. So that's what you want to see on a coin on a 2.5 or 5 Indian. Especially here we look at the front, you'll see a lot of the same thing where you start getting that luster in the big flat open areas. There's not as much flat open areas in this design, of course, because the Indian takes up so much space. But you have actual mint luster throughout the overall surface of the coin. You know, they call this a Mint State 63, probably a $700 plus coin in this market. Really, it's harder to tell the luster on the front of these coins because the Indian head takes up most of the design, and you see most of the luster really pools in the headdress. But really, to be able to understand whether it's going to make mint state or not, it's got to do with those open fields. And especially on the reverse, you can see the way that luster just dances like little stardust right there on that coin. That's the stuff that dreams are made of. That's the stuff that you want to see to get a coin of the 2.5 and 5 Indian incuse designs here to be mint state. So when you see that open field above the E pluribus unum, and it has really mostly just a nice even dullness to it versus the luster, that's kind of going to tell you the difference between a coin that's going from mint state to less than mint state. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.